temperatures where you're at today. Let's find out and check in with LNL meteorologist Sandra Brogan.
Well, on this Wednesday, heat is still a big.
Just ahead, school buses are making their rounds in Rochester again. We're with kids starting a brand new year of learning at Longfellow Elementary. Plus, we're just an hour away from a highly anticipated announcement from the Federal Reserve on interest rates. And overnight storms left a path of damage in our area. Your news at noon starts now.
Live from your local news leader, this is KTTC News.
Good afternoon, I'm Jess Abrahamson. This is the first alert day as we prepare for extreme heat, and this comes just hours after storms in our area. Meteorologist Ted Schmidt is joining us with the very latest from out on our weather patio. And Ted, many people were probably woken up in the middle of the night to those storms.
Yeah, quite a bit of thunder and some pretty strong wind gusts at a few spots. None of those actually reaching severe weather criteria. So we didn't have any severe thunderstorm warnings officially issued, but there were some areas of damage and there were some localized downpours of rainfall. Here at the studio, we had an inch of rain, and now it's completely cloud-free. Not a cloud in the sky. Blue sky happening right now. Just a hint of a breeze turning more to the west in the wake of this warmth that's moving through. This is our current picture from our Lewiston auto camera at the studio. 75. The wind's light from the west, 8 miles per hour, dew point 66. That's not nearly as humid as it was early this morning. Across the map right now, Rochester Airport signal not working right now, so the thermometer not sending out any data, but some other spots around it are showing how warm it is at this hour. It's 84 in Albert Lee. Mason City 83 and Winona 77. Skies are clear. We're looking at a day filled with sunshine ahead of us. Temperatures will warm very quickly in the wake of the clouds and showers we had earlier today. And it is a first alert day because of the heat. The humidity is going to be ramping up today, and the temperatures are going to climb very steadily the afternoon and evening. Heat indices 90 to 100 today. Allergy report moderate for trees, grasses, dust is in the high range, and then the UV index is at 8 in the scale of 1 to 10. 80 is the average high this time of the year. At the airport last hour, 76. We're climbing steadily toward the 80s, and we'll make our way to around 88. Today's a chance of heat index levels in the mid-90s. No more rain chances today. We're just looking at some warm sunshine and a very light breeze. It's going to feel very warm and sticky tomorrow, even hotter than this. So we have both days in that first alert criteria because of how warm it's going to be and how unusual it is compared to what we've had so far this year. Normally, we would have a day like this every so often, but it's been fairly mild, Jess, and now we're starting to really feel the steamy summer weather coming back.
Yeah, intense a trend we're in here. Thank you, Ted.
You bet.
Many of us heard those storms in the night, and for some, today is now a day of cleaning up damage. Heavy rain and wind tore through the Byron-Casson area this morning, bringing down branches and even some power lines. Our Darian Letty has been in the area checking out damage. So, Darian, where are you at right now, and what have you been seeing out there?
Well, Jess, I'm on the west end of Byron here, just a few miles north of Highway 14 in this neighborhood just behind the Quick Trip. And you can see behind me here, we've got a big tree down in this front yard, and it looks like the line crews just showed up to do some cleaning up here. It also brought down a power line with it, so that's probably why those line crews are in to help with that. I spoke to a neighbor who saw the storm roll in this morning. It happened around 7 o'clock, bringing in sheets of rain, so much they couldn't even see across the street out their window. Now, after a while, it did die down, leaving behind some damage. The neighbor told me they never lost power and no one that they know of got hurt. We also went to check out some of the damage in the country a couple miles south of Casson. I saw a lot of debris scattered around and more downed branches. I spoke to a farmer who saw the storm come in while eating breakfast and said it got dark outside and then it got really, really dark. And then he started to hear that rain, wind, and the branches and even some hail hitting the outside of his house. He had a huge branch come down right across his driveway, but he's working to move out of the way right now. He says there wasn't a lot of damage to his crops, but as we were driving around, we did come across some corn that was bent kind kind of down to the ground. Nothing majorly happening there. I also spoke to People's Co-op who operates kind of in this area, and they said this morning they had about 200 customers who lost power. It was kind of concentrated in that south of Byron and Casson area, kind of in that rural area there. Crews got out right away, and most customers have power now. So yeah, like you said, Jess, it's a big cleanup day here in this area, and we'll continue to check out what's going on here. Reporting in Byron, Darian Letty, KTTC News.
A lot of impressive damage there, Darian, and we can just hear that you're right in the heart now of the cleanup zone. Thanks so much for your reporting, and we'll look forward to hearing more from you later today. If you don't have air conditioning and you need a place to escape the heat, there are free options in our area to stay cool. The Rochester Public Library is open from 10 until 8 Monday through Thursday, and then 10 until 6 Friday through Sunday. The Rochester Salvation Army Community Center is open weekdays from 8 until 4. RPT is offering those free rides if you tell the driver you're looking for a cool place to be. And remember, there are free swimming areas in Rochester at Foster Aaron Park, Cascade Lake Beach, and Chester Woods Park. The Olmsted County Fair is now in full swing at the fairgrounds in Southeast Rochester, and that intense heat is going to be felt by both fairgoers and the animals. And Megan Zempel is there. She has spent much of her morning at the fair and joins us with more on this story. Hi, Megan.
Hi, Jess. Yeah, we were here this morning at the Miracle of Birth barn, and then also, so that was fun, as we all talked about, and we actually had to go and change into more warmer weather clothes because we were wearing long sleeves before, because we're definitely starting to feel that heat. And I'm here with Brandon Helgeson with the Fair Board. Brandon, it's going to be really hot today. What at the fair can people do to keep themselves cool?
Well, first and foremost, just some common sense. You know, have a bottle of water with you. If not, make sure you get some water when you're on site from one of the many food vendors we have. But just know your own body. I mean, that's the first and foremost. We need you to be smart about what you're doing and not doing. If you do feel like you're getting a little overwhelmed, we do have several buildings on the grounds that are air conditioning. All the Graham Arena complex at the end is air conditioned. Awney Hall is air conditioned. We have several tented areas, so there's a little bit of shade. The beer garden, while it's not air conditioned, has a good airflow through there, and again, it is out of the direct sunlight. So plenty of options if you do feel like you're getting just a little overwhelmed and you need to cool down. You know, if you think you're in more distress than that, you know, grab a hold of one of the vendors, grab a hold of anybody you see that's working at the fair, and we can you know, address that accordingly.
And do you have like EMTs? Obviously, you have security on site. Do you have like EMTs on standby too, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we don't have EMTs on standby, but we have emergency medical services here with the Sheriff's Department. He's here 24/7 all fair week. So we have a direct contact to anything we might need as far as emergency services.
And we were just talking about with Darian some storm damage. You guys actually saw some damage too, or some issues with the storm, we'll say. What was going on there?
Well, yeah, I got a call early this morning from one of my guys saying, hey, can you get here a little sooner? We have a whole bunch of water sitting on the free stage roof. So I hustled into town, unfortunately not quick enough. As we were trying to get the water off the roof, another gust of rain and wind came up and tore the tarp. But that's the live event business, and that's the fair. So we quickly just went and got another tarp. It's already up and ready to roll for tonight's shows.
All right, great. Thank you. You're an old season pro, is that right?
I've been around the block a few times. That's correct. You don't need to use the term old, though.
Okay. Young season pro. Thank you, Brandon, for your time, and thank you for all you guys do with putting this fair on. Like he said, just use some common sense, know your limits, bring your water, and then take those breaks and some air conditioning if needed. Back to you, Jess.
Some really good advice, and of course they have the lemonade and all of the good treats to help keep us cool too. Thank you. The Mississippi River is crucial when it comes to keeping the economy going, acting as a main channel to transport goods. In April, the river was dealing with flooding. Now it is seeing low water levels, and this is prompting the Army Corps of Engineers to initiate a drought watch. That means they're closely monitoring conditions and they're just hoping for rain. The Corps tells us the lock and dam system is made for drought conditions. Without it, the river would become shallow. When the water gets too low, the Corps uses the stream to decrease the flow of water to maintain a 9-foot channel, allowing vessels to pass. They also may dredge sand out of the river to create more depth. Without this system, commerce would stop because barges wouldn't be able to get through shallow water. This just in, today, Hunter Biden was expected to plead guilty to 2 federal tax crimes in court this morning. We're now learning that plea deal is in jeopardy. The misdemeanors are for not paying taxes on time in 2017 and 2018. In court, prosecutors said Biden owed more than $1 million in taxes. The president's son was also set to enter a deal with prosecutors to resolve a separate felony gun charge. But NBC News is reporting a disagreement arose in court about that. NBC News is reporting this case could now be delayed until early September. Actor Kevin Spacey was found not guilty on all charges in a London court today. The Oscar winner was facing 9 counts of sexual assault against 4 men between 2004 and 2013 in Britain. 3 of the 4 accusers claim Spacey aggressively groped them, while the 4th says Spacey sexually assaulted him while he was passed out in Spacey's flat. Spacey, who took the stand in his own defense, pleaded not guilty to all charges and suggested that his accusers were either lying or reimagining consensual sexual encounters. After 3 days of deliberations, the jury rendered their verdict today, which also is Spacey's 64th birthday. The Iowa Supreme Court says Governor Kim Reynolds can move forward with her appeal of a temporary block on the state's new abortion law. Reynolds announced her intentions to appeal the decision last week. The court has now formally allowed that request to move forward. The law would restrict abortions after about 6 weeks of pregnancy. Right now, abortion is legal up to 20 weeks while the law is on hold. Happening today, the Orinoco Fire Department is hosting a different type of recruitment event. This is a day to get to know your local first responders, as well as learn what it's like to work in the field. Residents from Olmsted, Dodge, Wabasha, and Goodhue counties are welcome. There's going to be food trucks, live music, kids' activities, and fire truck tours. Any current first responder who attends is also going to get a discount on food items. So this is from 4 until 8 tonight at the Orinoco Fire Hall, and that is off 2nd Street Northwest. Also today, a big announcement is expected shortly. Buying major items like homes and vehicles may soon be a little more expensive in the U.S. The Federal Reserve is expected to announce interest rate hikes today at 1 o'clock. Americans may want to keep a tighter grip on their money, even though inflation in the U.S. has cooled significantly to about 3%. And that's why many economic analysts say the central bank will announce interest rate increases this afternoon, despite the potential threat it could pose to the U.S. economy. Some analysts say rate hikes could handcuff the country economically. Others say holding them steady could result in persistently high inflation. If the expected rate boost happens, it will mark the 12th since last spring and the highest it's been in 22 years. Thousands of Rochester families will be paying 20% more this school year for their kids' school activities fees. Meanwhile, for students at Longfellow Elementary School, a new year of learning gets underway today. That story is next. Most students are still soaking up the last few weeks of summer break, but others are now officially back in the classroom for a new year of learning. Longfellow Elementary resumes classes today. Longfellow is the only school in the Rochester district to follow a 45-15 schedule. That means students go to school for 45 days and then they get a 3-week break. They also do get an extended summer break of about 6 weeks. Longfellow is both a neighborhood and district-wide choice school. About 30% of students are from the neighborhood, and the rest are from families who seek out this type of year-round learning.
Our students have a shorter summer. They have time to play outside, but they're really ready to get back to school. And we really appreciate the learner retention. They have a lot of skills that they continue to build and don't lose over the summer, and just having that balanced schedule throughout the year.
And we hope all Longfellow Leopards and staff members have a great first day back. As families in the Rochester School District gear up for back to school, School activities will cost many of them more. Last night, the Rochester School Board approved a 20% increase in participation fees, and it goes into effect for the upcoming fall activities. The district says the hike in prices will generate up to $106,000 in revenue. So what does this mean for families? This is how fall sports are going to be affected. Soccer, cross country, volleyball, girls tennis, and cheerleading will cost $185. That's up from $155. Girls swimming and diving jumps to $215, up from $180. And football will now cost $255, up from $215. The district says families who qualify for free or reduced lunch prices will continue to qualify for free sports participation. You can see how all activities for sports and other events like speech, math league, and show choir will be impacted on our website, kttc.com. Rochester police are investigating a theft of Rochester School District property. A trailer was stolen from the Jefferson Elementary parking lot in Northeast Rochester. Rochester police say the driver of a light-colored SUV entered the parking lot just after 10 Sunday night and hooked up the trailer and drove off. The trailer contained 46-foot tables and about 200 folding chairs on rolling carts. Anyone who knows anything about the theft is asked to reach out to Rochester Police. This is a First Alert Day. Ted is looking ahead to a hot afternoon.
Temperatures are looking to warm quickly today. Tomorrow gets even hotter, so we're going to deal with the heat, humidity for a couple of more days before a cold front brings some changes and maybe even a little more of that much needed rainfall. The latest in your 7-day forecast is coming up after our Wednesday market report.
Miss part of our newscast? KTTC has
Your First Alert weather with meteorologist Ted Schmidt.
Our overnight and morning storms have passed. Now Mother Nature is kicking up the heat. It is a First Alert Day, and Ted has a lot to talk about.
Temperatures are really warming quickly, Jess, in the wake of those storms. The sun came out all at once, and yeah, things are at least greening up. I really have noticed around the studio and driving around today, things in the past 2 rounds of storm activity going back to the weekend have made a big difference. So that's a good thing. And right now we're going to start to deal with the heat and the sunshine. But first of all, let's watch this. Watch this shelf cloud come in, leading edge of that thunderstorm, and then a deluge of rain, wind-driven rain, some gusty winds. This is time-lapse from this morning with our Lewis Didaldo camera. We picked up an inch of rainfall here at the studio. That came in 2 doses, most of that in the second dose, but we had one round around 3 o'clock this morning, the next one right around 7. Now we're looking at increasingly sunny skies across the map as we look outside now live at this very warm midday. That's live from our Lewis Didaldo cameras. Storms have moved out to the east. We have beautiful bright blue sky overhead, a very nice looking day, just a little on the warm side. A warm front is working its way across the map, kind of stationary now, but it's going to lift to the northeast, allowing some more of that warmth to come into the area. To the west, behind that front, it is a whole lot warmer. Pierce, South Dakota, 99 at this hour, 92 in Sioux Falls, 83 in Minneapolis. No report from the Rochester Airport. The sensor's down right now. 86 in Waterloo, but I can tell you that we're in the low and mid 80s across the map in most cases. Looking at some of the rainfall amounts, lion's share of the rain was from Olmsted County up to the northwest, just south side of the Twin Cities. You see some of the totals. Elgin, 2.52 inches. Marion Zimbrota sent in a report of 1.75 inches. Douglas, a little more than an inch and a third. Here at the studio, exactly an inch. At the airport in Rochester, a little more than half an inch. 59 hundredths of an inch at RST. 79 in Preston to the west, a whole lot warmer. It's been sunny more of the day. 84 now in Albert Lea, 83 Mason City, on our way to the 90s in much of the area. Here's how it feels. If you factor in that mugginess, it's slowly building. Dew points at one point were in the 70s this morning before the onset of that rain. They will climb back to the 70s today and remain in that range tomorrow. But it feels like 83 in Dodge Center, 86 in Mason City, and already 88 the way it feels in Albert Lea. Warm sunshine today. Heat index levels today 90 to 100. We'll be there again tomorrow. So today and tomorrow, the hottest 2 days, the 2 first alert days, and then the weekend looks less humid. and more seasonable. So it is a first alert day, talking about some toasty temperatures, low 90s around Winona and Decorah, Mesa City 94, Rochester 87. It's going to feel like the low and mid 90s across the map. But tomorrow, upper 90s to around 100, and then after that it gets a little better. Temperatures in the 80s on Friday with a couple of doses of storm activity, and then over the weekend a drier stretch of rainfall, both in terms of rainfall and humidity. Less of that humidity and less of the rain. But future track looking at the showers pull away to the east. Today, a sun-filled afternoon, temperatures in the upper 80s and low 90s. Tonight, temperatures close to 70 overnight. With the clear, quiet night, there are going to be some spotty showers to our north. I do think we'll miss out on all of that. Tomorrow, sun-filled day with a bit of a southwest breeze, and then storms arrive late evening after about 6 or 7 o'clock. A couple of strong storms will be possible into the overnight hours, and then on Friday, storms early, and then thunderstorms again late in the day. Severe weather risk tomorrow after about 6 o'clock, level 1 out of 5 from the Storm Prediction Center, hail and some gusty winds. And then much of the area in level 2 out of 5 for Friday evening. The possibility of more hail and those strong winds, and especially south of Interstate 90, the greatest risk of the stronger activity. Rainfall next several days, half-inch or so, maybe a little more in some of the heavier downpours. So more good news in that regard. Otherwise, today a warm one, heat indices in the 90s, mostly sunny. Northwest winds around 10 miles per hour, 87 in Rochester, 91 in Winona, and 94 in Mesa City. Temperature-wise, very warm tomorrow and Friday, warm and muggy, but then the weekend and the days that followed looking pretty comfortable. A lot of low 80s down the road. Mostly sunny, 87 today, northwest winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight's mainly clear, warm and humid night. A light breeze, 68. And 7-day forecast, 93. Tomorrow, maybe a couple of evening storms after about 7 o'clock or into the evening hours. And then otherwise warm and sunny with heat indices in the 90s. The 7-day forecast after tomorrow, just 80s. And we can handle that. And it looks like a long stretch of pretty nice weather.
Yeah, the weekend looks great.
That's fantastic, yeah.
It's going to feel refreshing, too.
Right.
Thank you, Ted. Well, our hot week is not stopping people from coming out to the Olmsted County Fair. We're going to get a live look at the fairgrounds in Southeast Rochester as we check in with Megan Semple. Stay with us for that. It's happening in just a moment.
KTTC, celebrating 70.
The Olmsted County Fair is now in full swing out at the fairgrounds in Southeast Rochester. There is so much to see, taste, and experience. Our Megan Semple has been soaking it all in and joins us live with more on what's happening. Hi, Megan.
Hi, Jess. Things are starting to get busier here and also hotter here. I can start feeling some of the sweat coming down my face. But you know what? It shouldn't stop you from having a good time here. We're in the Midway Carnival, which I know my kids will be coming here later on tonight. It's busy. We've checked in with a couple food vendors. Some are still getting set up, but they said they will be all in full swing within the next 20 minutes to half hour. And like we mentioned earlier with the heat, just be smart, drink water, and then go into some of the cooling areas that they have, some of the air-conditioned buildings. So, and tonight is Breland at the grandstand, and then also a free concert starts at 4 in the smaller stage that they just fixed this morning. So after this, Jess, we're gonna grab some cheese curds and then also some lemonade. So back to you.
Yeah, it looks like things are just starting to get going there on the Midway, and some enthusiastic fairgoers behind you. Enjoy, Megan. Thank you.
Yes, thanks.
You can get some cocktails with community members today in Chatfield. A new event aims to create an environment where residents, organizations, and business owners can gather and connect and just really engage in community efforts. So come for the conversation and then stay for the refreshments and all the fun. This is happening at the Chatfield Center for the Arts from 5:30 until 7 tonight. Just ahead, Howard is helping us make the most of our grocery budget.
Looking to save at the meat counter? If so, we've got one of the best food buys, and we're going to show you how to turn it into a restaurant-worthy dinner. You know, when I was at the market the other day, I was reminded how budget-friendly chicken thighs are. So I picked some up so I could share with you a recipe that is one of my favorite dinner time standbys. These are bone-in chicken thighs, and just because they're such a bargain, don't think for a second that they're not tender, flavorful, or meaty. To start, We place our chicken thighs in a plastic storage bag along with some soy sauce, scallions, a bit of lime juice, a couple of tablespoons of brown sugar, a little honey, crushed red pepper, and a bit of garlic. Now we seal this up and into the fridge it goes so all the flavors can marry overnight. Then you can cook them up either on a grill pan or on your outdoor grill. We want to cook them until no pink remains and the skin is caramelized. Serve these up over some rice or, better yet, on a bed of Asian slaw and call the troops to the table. If you like moist, meaty chicken, then this is a must-have. To get the recipe for what we call our teriyaki chicken thighs, all you have to do is visit our website. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a teriyummy way for you to say, ooh, it's so good. Teriyaki, teriyummy.
If you grill those outdoors later on today, you might be feeling that extra heat. Ted has the latest out on our weather patio. Hi there.
Hi, Jess. Yeah, so far it's not too bad. Temperatures have been warming steadily from where we were this morning in the 60s. That rain-cooled atmosphere for several hours. Now with not a cloud in the sky and all the sunshine, yeah, it is warming quickly, and as we move along through the afternoon, it's going to be a toasty one out of the pavement. So if you're going to the fair or out and about in general, or if you're going to stand by a grill, you're going to really feel that heat later this afternoon. But right now, a bright and pleasant-looking day. Here's a blue sky as you look outside with our Louis Donato camera here at the studio. We've moved up a few more degrees since the top of the program. 79 right now. It feels like 80. The winds for the northwest, 8 miles per hour. So far, dew point, not that bad, mid-60s. It's going to climb to around 70 later today. So it's going to get a little steamier, and it'll be there in that range tomorrow as well. At the airport, Rochester, no word right now on the official number. Let's see if that sensor is repaired soon. But right now, Dodge Center 82, Mesa City 83. Winona 77. Of course, the clouds have been hanging on the east a little bit longer, so those areas are a little bit cooler still at this hour, but we're all clearing out of the clouds. The showers have moved out. We had an inch of rain here at the studio right around 7 o'clock this morning. Now it's blue sky for us, and we're going to warm up to the upper 80s and low 90s. It's a first alert day as heat indices will be in the 90 to 100 range across the entire area, even a few of those temperatures, the map, reaching the actual 90s themselves, in addition to the heat index. But 87 later today in Rochester. It's going to feel like the low 90s here in the Med City with that northwest breeze around 10 miles per hour. Ted's Trivia, what is the fattiest organ in the human body? Well, the internal organs is one of these 4 options below. We will have that answer coming up in a few minutes, Jess.
All right, Brain, that's an interesting choice. If that's correct, that'll be really interesting. Thank you, Ted. Just ahead, lawmakers tackle a lot of topics in our nation's capital, but a hearing happening today is truly out of this world. Plus, protecting passengers in the sky, a new proposal would equip planes with a tool that could save lives. That story just ahead.
Where there's a
It's not your typical House Oversight Committee hearing. Today, lawmakers are asking some tough questions about UFOs. Our Zach Fuller is going to have full coverage of this during our online newscast at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Hi, Zach.
Hi, Jess. Yeah, you mentioned it before the break. It really is out of this world. If you go on Twitter today, that's really all that everybody is talking about is the UFO hearing, among other things. But a whistleblower and UFO experts were in front of the House Oversight Committee talking about all things UFOs, and they allege that there is more information out there than is being released by the U.S. government. So a very interesting hearing that lasted a couple hours. We'll have more on that coming up at 1 o'clock on KTTC News Now on both our Facebook page and our live stream. Jess.
You have my full attention on this one. I look forward to learning more about this shortly. Thanks, Zach. If you're someone who has allergies or other health problems, going on a plane might cause some anxiety. Now, one lawmaker is pushing to equip planes with a tool that could save lives in the skies. A study from the New England Journal of Medicine found 11,920 recorded in-flight emergencies during a 2-year period. Those range from heart attacks and strokes to preventable anaphylactic shock. Even though the last one is common and caused by allergic reactions to things like nuts that are commonly found on planes, Airplanes are not required to have EpiPens to treat allergic reactions on board. There is only about a 30-minute window to administer an EpiPen once an allergic reaction occurs.
To think that something as simple as an epinephrine injector is not on board was, to me, a glaring oversight.
This measure would force all airlines to make sure they're prepared for the unthinkable, even thousands of feet in the air. Senator Duckworth is including the measure in the FAA reauthorization bill, and that is expected to come to a vote in the coming weeks. We'll be right back with Ted's forecast.
Ag Day Minute brought to you by Jen Bush.
Here's your first alert weather with meteorologist Ted Schmidt.
Beautiful blue sky replacing the thunderstorms we had first thing this morning. Some raucous storms, some downpours of rain, pretty gusty winds. No confirmed severe warnings, though. None of those actually issued, but there were some reports of some damage and some wind gusts that were approaching severe criteria. I know we had radar estimates from the Weather Service detecting around 30 to 50 mile per hour gusts. But right now things quieter. We have blue skies across the board. That's live from some of our Lewiston auto cameras. Some downpours of rain. Look at these radar estimates in the way of rainfall. An inch plus from Rochester to the north and west. A couple spots had 2 inches. Specific totals: Elgin 2.5 inches. Marion, we had a viewer send in a total of 2.5 inches. Mary from Zimbrota, 1 inch and 3/4. Here in Rochester at the studio, 1 inch at RST. 59/100 of an inch. In northeast Rochester had 1.12 inches. Much needed rainfall there, and things are really greening up. I know since Saturday things have gotten a lot better, and hopefully get some additional rounds of rain in our future. And it does look like we'll have at least chances tomorrow, maybe again on Friday. Right now we're done with the rain for today. There is a front position to our west. It's going to work its way very slowly eastward and allow some very warm and humid air into the area. Temperatures today will march toward the 90s. Rochester 87, but 92 expected this afternoon. Albert Lee, Mason City 94 and 93 in La Crosse. Looking at temperatures this hour, current readings, it's 76 in La Crosse, 86 in Waterloo. Behind that front, that's where all the 90s are really at this point. Pierce, South Dakota 99, Grand Island, Nebraska 95. On our way to some 90s here locally. Right now it's 79 in Preston. Rochester, no report from the airport. The sensor's down right now, though. 84 in Austin and 83 in Mason City. And heat index levels already a couple degrees warmer than the actual temperature. 81 in Winona, but 88 the way it feels in Northwood, and 92 the current heat index in Albert Lee. Warm sunshine today. We'll do that again tomorrow. Both days featuring heat index levels 90 to 100. Tomorrow even warmer than today, with thunderstorms maybe very late in the day, not in the morning to cool the atmosphere initially like the situation was this morning. Heat index levels 90s today, close to 100 tomorrow, and then stepping down a bit from Friday into the weekend. We'll see highs in the 80s. Heat index levels going from 90s to the 70s and 80s, and getting better as we move along into the weekend and next week. But future track today, the storms have moved out. We're looking at a beautiful blue sky today, a warm one with that northwest breeze around 10 miles per hour. Temperatures climbing into the 80s and 90s. Tonight, staying close to 70, and then tomorrow, a steamy day with thunderstorms to our north. We're going to stay mainly dry until the late evening. Storms may even erupt as early as 6, but more than likely 8 or 9 o'clock. We'll see some rounds of thunderstorms tomorrow night into the wee hours of Friday, and another round maybe late Friday evening. Severe weather risk 1 of 5. Across the entire area after 6 p.m. for the Storm Prediction Center later tomorrow with hail and some damaging winds. And then tomorrow, level 2 for our southern counties, Rochester and areas north, level 1. That's still a possibility then in our area for hail and some strong wind gusts. That's Friday evening with the passage of that cold front. We'll have temperatures going from the 90s to 80s and then barely 80s. We're talking low 80s with comfortable weather this weekend. Today, sunny and warm. Humidity in the area with that's slowly climbing with dew points in the 70s, heat indices in the 90s. Tonight, 68, mainly clear and muggy. And then tomorrow, some evening storms, but until then, a very warm and steamy day. 93, but it's going to feel like it's close to 100. And highs over the weekend, only around 80. That's actually the seasonal average. A couple of storm chances next week, but not nearly as many. And temperatures mainly in the low 80s down the road into the first days of August. Ted's Trivia, what is the fattiest organ in the human body? Talking all the internal organs. Which one is it?
I just want to say A, but I'm going to go with B, the liver.
Actually is A.
It is A.
It is, yeah. You may have heard this at some point. And one of the things that makes you go, but it's true.
Well, you're very smart, Ted, so we know what's up there.
I try to keep it busy.
Thank you, Ted.
Right.
We always appreciate you. Today is historic in championing the rights of people living with disabilities. A new report, though, shows there is room for improvement in the workplace. More on that story just ahead.
KTTC, celebrating.
Today marks 33 years since the Americans with Disabilities Act was signed into law, requiring employers to make reasonable accommodations, adjustments, or modifications for employees with a known disability so that they can have equal employment opportunities. While the vast majority of major corporations encourage employees to voluntarily disclose a disability, a new report is finding only a tiny fraction actually do. Sharon Epperson reports.
Many employees may stay silent about a disability, fearing stigma or losing out on a job or promotion. For Rob Koch, a key manager at a technology consulting firm who is deaf, the first hurdle for workers with disabilities is getting in the door.
A lot of hiring managers typically like to hire people that are similar to them. So that's the challenge that we have to overcome.
HR leaders say company-wide initiatives to increase awareness about disabilities can make a difference. After an awareness campaign at New Jersey-based energy company PSEG, the percentage of employees who self-reported a disability tripled.
We'd be excluding a huge pool of potential employees if we weren't focused on that population, and not just bringing them in the door, but making sure they had the resources and the comfort that they need to feel included and want to stay.
While the vast majority of employers, 93%, encourage employees to confidentially disclose that they have a disability, a recent report found fewer than 5% of U.S. employees are reporting a disability to their employer. Meanwhile, the prevalence of people with disabilities is far greater, about 25% of the global workforce, another survey estimated.
When we shift that narrative and we begin to say, you can identify as having a disability, that is something that you can be proud of, that makes you who you are, that number of people who identifying in the workplace as disabled is going to grow.
Experts also say knowing an employer is willing to provide reasonable accommodations to help workers succeed on the job, whether it's equipment and software, flexible work arrangements, or adjustments to their physical settings, can increase the likelihood that an employee will disclose their disability. For CNBC, I'm Sharon Epperson.
She says, "I got you, babe." And now she has a sweet frozen treat to go along with that famous line. Cher's latest creation just ahead.
Make your yard unique and beautiful.
Cher is launching her own line of the frozen dessert called Cherlato, the 77-year-old announcing her venture on Instagram. She's teaming up with a New Zealand-based ice cream company to bring this gelato to life. According to the company, Cherlato is going to focus on local ingredients. We know it's going to be available for sure in Los Angeles, but no other details have been released. I wonder what that flavor is going to be like, or what flavors.
Not sure. I'm sure one of it would be named after Moonstruck or something like that.
There you go. Maybe that would be blue, right?
Yeah, blue moon.
Yeah.
I get that, yeah.
Okay, a way to keep cool. Do take care out there on this First Alert Day.
That's right. First Alert Day today and tomorrow. A couple of steamy ones ahead.
Have a good day.